Okay. So you already know if you see both of these familiar faces going on right now, you already know what time it is. It's the No Frillz podcast. This is episode 54 and counting. And today we got a special one for you. But before we get to that, of course, you know who runs the show with me as always, the people's commentator, Chris fucking Matrix. How the hell are you, bucko?
Fucking great, man. It's great to be here. It's been a good week, and it's gonna be a great episode.
All right, so yeah, you know, we've been teasing. If you guys have been paying attention since like the first couple of the first season of No Frillz podcast, there was a couple of episodes we spoke about this one person and many of our stories. So you know, and it's funny because we got on here today, and a lot of these stories might connect with everything that we spoke about in the past No Frillz podcast episodes. And you know, Chris Matrix has been teasing this guy for the longest. You know what I mean? That he was gonna pull up to the show. And we finally got him.
This is the linchpin. Yeah, this is the linchpin.
All right, so do you want to introduce this fellow, Chris Matrix?
Sure, absolutely.
Go for it, buddy.
Absolutely. Like my bro said, you know what I mean? Like my road dog said, we've been teasing for quite some time. This is going to be a very special few episodes. And just as a disclaimer, we let people come over here and speak their truth. This is No Frillz. We don't censor nobody. You know, as long as they're within the realms of respectfulness and everything like that. But at the same time, we let people come and speak their truth as we do ours. So with that being said, introducing the man, the myth, the legend, the Triforce Game Master.
Hello, good sir.
Oh, beloved.
Yo, we back in that attic, boy. Oh, we back in that attic. I smell Chinatown Fair, East Coast, the family all together again. What's going on, Triforce?
Greetings.
Oh, yeah.
I'm the architect. Welcome, guys.
Oh yeah, he's here. Hey, Triforce. Hey, I just want to say you look fucking great, man.
For real.
You look great.
It's been a while.
I hope you've been, safe and healthy throughout this whole pandemic, which I'm pretty sure that you have been, because I know that you know how to take care of yourself and your body extremely well. I know that personally. But I definitely hope that you've been safe and your family's been safe and everything's been good with you throughout this whole pandemic.
Yeah, for real,
You
man.
guys are safe, man, because I keep up the tabs. Like the architect, I have all the screens around the room, so I can see everything in the FGC. And it's good to know that you guys are all safe and you're good.
Yo,
yes.
The architect. Oh man. Man, what's the golden question? What should we start off with? Like, obviously, we could hit with the.
My brother. We are here for the long haul, so we are going to break down the Triforce Game Master. We are going to give him a chance to let the world know him as we do, because everybody doesn't know the real Triforce Game Master as we do. People know what the FGC painted of him. Mm-hmm. People know what other people have spoken and portrayed of him. But people don't actually know the real Triforce Game Master. So
very few.
It gives me great pleasure that this platform can give you guys the true portrayal of the Triforce Game Master.
You gotta say the.
Yes, the THEEEEE.
THE is the first name.
Yeah.
Basically.
So,
oh man.
Without further ado, we definitely like to start with humble beginnings, Triforce. And before I give you the floor, because I know you have some of the humblest beginnings, I'm gonna crack open my sparkling cider.
Let me join you, brother. Hold on.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna pour it here in my little wine glass.
Yeah, I don't got those in the office. I got plastic cups.
It's cool, baby. It's cool.
Plastic cups.
I use the cups too. Oh yeah.
This man drinking that bubbly.
Cheers.
To the Triforce Game Master.
Triforce Game Master. My brother, please tell the people your origin story.
Okay.
Okay.
We have a lot to unpack here. Well, the first thing I'm going to say, we have to start out, who am I? Where am I actually from? One is my father origin is from Ghana, and he was raised in Jamaica. What a lot of people don't know is because everything's coming out in the No Frillz e-files, everything. So at the end of this, I probably will get deleted or canceled. So 90% chance. So I was smuggled into America. So I'm actually not American. Back in the 60s and the 70s, you could do a lot with the Border Patrol with the right papers that have dead presidents on them. But so that's why when people say, I'm not really Jamaican, they're right. I actually am not. I'm actually African, period. So, and whether I was born in Africa,
we all are, but go ahead.
Well, you can't tell that to certain people. There'd be a fight over there. So, that's like a Chinese man in Jamaica, and you go, "You're Jamaican, right?" And he goes, "Actually, yeah, but I'm Chinese." And they'd be like, "No, man, you was born here." Like, yeah, but I'm Chinese. It's the very same principle, I'm African. It doesn't matter where I'm born in the world, as long as I have this skin tone and this type of hair, I am African. That's just how it is. Father, he's an immigrant, sons of immigrants. Me and my two other brothers came to America, and my father went through some trials and tribulations just to try to keep us afloat. So a lot of people who say certain things about me, Triforce is what's the word for this? They'll call me a grifter, scammer, a hustler, etc., etc. It is the dumbest thing to say because I'm an immigrant, and that's how immigrants survive. We're not born with the tools that other people who are legitimately born in this, not this, but that, captive country. Now, it doesn't belong to the Europeans, but by rule of law, they've conquered the country, so it's theirs. So if you are not a Anglo-Saxon, true, white American, they wrote the Constitution for those people. Later, they amended it for us. So, and that's fine. Nothing is perfect, and that's a problem with people. We live in a society where nobody wants to forgive. Nobody wants to look at a problem, except there's something wrong with the problem, and then forgive the issues and fix it. Everything has to be perfect, but that's impossible because no one is perfect. So they make these jokes about immigrants who are hustlers, scammers, and et cetera, but it's like, the country's not set up for us, so how are we supposed to survive?
That's right.
So growing up, just to give you an idea of the hustle, my father used to drive taxi. Same way they drive taxi down here in Jamaica. My father came into America driving taxi. And to help my father, because times was rough, we used to go to Key Food and Pioneer and Met Food, for those who don't know, in America. Those are supermarkets. And we used to go pack grocery bags and help old ladies take their bags to the cars. They'd give us quarters and dollars and stuff like that, and we'd make some money. And we'd give some of that money to our father to help him pay the bills. So we always understood what a cohesive unit of a family was. The extra money that I had, when we used to sneak out of my house, when my dad told us don't go on the street, was to go to the arcade. And we go and spend our quarters mastering video games. That's how we played my first fighting game, Yari, Kung Fu, and then Karate Champ, and Strider, Operation Wolf, and RoboCop, and Hypnodrome, and Double Dragon, Narcs. And so I'm from the retro era. That's where I come from. A lot of people go, Triforce is from the FGC. Pause. I'm 44. Relax. I'm from the era before the FGC. I'm literally the descendants of the elder gods.
That's right.
I'm literally the direct descendants from the elder gods. Big shout outs to Walter Day. Big shout outs to Billy Mitchell and Todd Rogers. And fuck everybody who don't like those guys. So yeah, if not for those guys and Ben Gold and the rest of them, you wouldn't have a scene. So whether they're villains or not, and they're not, because I got the dirt. And we're gonna go through all of this. This is gonna cross different genres, industries. We're crossing all of these boundaries. I'm shitting on everybody. Jace Hall, everyone. David Hawk said it's going to get medieval in this bitch. Like shit that's not supposed to be released is going to get released because chances are we're in the first trumpet of the last days. So if we're going to go out, got to put it all out there. Got to put it all out there. But we're going to get to that. We got like 3 episodes. We won't get to that. Let's get back to the origin story. So, growing up, I've always learned how to hustle to make ends meet. Went to school. I was a big nerd. I wasn't really into girls. I was really more into science, technology, video games, and stuff like that. And I grew up and I met my ex-wife she's my ex-wife now, but my wife at the time. I don't want to put her government out there because
but we know
these scumbags out here, you know how this works.
Yeah,
so everyone knows that we'll call her the first empress. So the first empress, I met her in Job Corps in school. I went up to Job Corps and then from Job Corps I went to Marist College in Poughkeepsie. I took up sociology and psychology. Well, I took up 1 semester of psychology, and because my African teacher is like, are you sure you want to take up psychology? Psychology is being of the minds. When you clear psychology, you become a psychotherapist. And if you break down therapist, it means the therapist of minds. That's the first lesson I learned. Is like, do you want to be that? Lawyers, politicians, presidents, prime ministers, all leaders of the world, all took up psychology. Their job is the minds of people. I was like, so what?
Basically, you're saying people out here getting mind fucked
all the time. Businessmen, businessmen. You have to take up psychology to become a true businessman. And I was like, I just want to study people. And he's like, then take up sociology. That's the study of the human race. As in, you can study people, but if you want your minds, I'm like, why do you say it like that? He's like, because that's what it is. He's like, I could be nice to you and say it another way, And at that time, saying being of minds was okay. We're in this era where if you say being of minds, it's crazy.
You're going down the toilet, for sure.
You guys will probably have to bleep out those words I just said. So I was like, nah. And I was like, I'll stop here. And he's like, that's a wise choice because most people who take up this psychology, they use it for evil. That's it. Most people, not all, most people who take up psychology use it for evil. Because when you learn how to use people and manipulate them and take from them, why not? That's why you have so many guys are business people and human beings. Are you kidding me? Bill Gates. That took a big time psychology. Oh, he cares nothing about people. That's another story. Move that out of the way. Let's get back to what we're talking about. I took up sociology and I tried to learn the best of humanity. What makes us good as a people? And I had to go back to my African roots. I started to learn that we as a race, as a human race, people mix up ethnicity with race. There's only one race, the human race. And then there's ethnic groups within that human race. For instance, the race of dogs, the species of dogs are canines. Within that, you have different breeds of canine. We could call humans different breeds, but then that kind of have that slave connotation to us. We're going to breed that person. So we use ethnic groups. That's the new word, the PC word of saying breed. And so once I understood the true understanding of what humanity was about, I kind of start to understand to forgive people. I stopped looking at white people as white people and Africans. And let me stop saying white people. There are no such thing as white people. There are Caucasians, there are Africans, and there are Asians. Some people go, well, what happened to the Latino and the Hispanics, or the Spaniards? Spaniards are Caucasians. Hispanics or Latino are no different from Haitians and Afro-Mexicans and Afro-Brazilians. We're all clumped up as Africans. Because when you look at our culture, you'll notice that we all have the same type of culture. Our skin color may be off a little bit, but ain't none of us really white or light skin or whatever. Like Yipes eats platanos, we eat plantains. They eat rice and beans, so do we, and all of that culture, that all of our culture in terms of food and the way we live in the Caribbean, all comes from the motherland. So those are just African people, or in the new political term, they call it people of color. So that's just one group now, people of color. So you have your Caucasians, your Asians, and then you have the people of color, which is the minority group of Africans. And I realized that once we all start to understand each other's culture, we can all live together. And so we're going to skip the part where I kind of grew up and got married and finished. Well, I never finished school. I dropped out of school. I dropped out of high school, went straight to Job Corps, jumped from my GED in the first 6 months of Job Corps, went straight to college, dropped out of college after my second semester of sociology. And then I just went and I worked at Danka Services, and then I went and worked as a mail boy at Goldman Sachs. And then I really got to see what white culture is. In the movie The Matrix, you see the architect. That is really what white people are like, literally like the architect. They're clean, pristine, stainless, almost robotic, which is sad. And that's, let me take that back. I want to say that's white culture, but that's kind of like what the culture of Caucasian people is striving to be, perfection like a computer. But once you become a machine, you're no longer perfect. Human beings are perfect. What makes human beings perfect is our imperfections. Machines cannot invent because they're not perfect. They follow logic, and that in itself is fallible, so there will always be a ceiling cap. For human beings, there will never be a ceiling cap because we don't follow logic. Without our infallibility, we would have never betrayed God and ate from the tree of knowledge, and society would have never been brought this far, which God already knew. That's why he put the tree there. It was like, I'm perfect, but I'm going to make something like me, and I'm going to give its own autonomy, and I want to see if it's going to betray me. And we betrayed God, and God's like, damn, I'm nice. I just made a copy of myself. But that's getting biblical. So, once I understood that, I played video games, and I created this group called Videoland. That was me growing up, and Videoland comprises of 241st and White Plains Road, all the way to wow, I haven't been in America for a long time. Bronx Park, East Stereo. If you run that,
this is in the Bronx.
This
just
is in
for
the
people who don't know. This is Uptown Boogie Down.
If you run that 2 and 5 line back in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, every bodega, every laundromat, every video rental store, every pizza store had an arcade. And you could play every single game from Commando to Pac-Man, Donkey Kong to Afterburner, like everything under the sun that you could think of was on that strip. And we call that strip Videoland. And my brother is the one who put me on Nathaniel, my oldest brother. He put me onto it. He used to sneak me out of the house, and we go to the arcades and play video games. And that's where I was like, I want to go home and play video toys. I wasn't really into video games like that. And he's like, these are better than toys. They move. And then one day, my father brought me from school. He took me into this arcade. Well, it wasn't an arcade. It was a Jamaican fruits and vegetable store. You guys know about these stores. Well, they still exist in America, but not as much back then. Yeah. And they had a Star Wars arcade machine in there. I think it was like, how old was I? I think it was like 4 or 5. I had to, like 4 or 5, right? And there was a Star Wars arcade machine. I wanted to get back home because I wanted to watch Thundercats and He-Man. My father was talking to his friend, and he gave me 4 quarters. He said, go and play the game until I'm ready. But I was too short to get on the game, so I took a crate, stood on a crate, put a quarter into the Star Wars machine, started rocking it. And the guy came and says, you're kind of good at this. You're like a kid. That was it. Once he said that to me, my confidence was like, I like video games. And then I went from an arcade to tabletop Popeye and Donkey Kong and Pac-Man to the Kellogg's Frosted Flakes digital watch, the Tiger LCD. Any game I had to play and become good at it because that guy said I was good at the game. And then my father's like, stop running the street, because my father used to go and drive cars at night or in the daytime, and he would leave me with my brother Nathaniel, who was like, if I was 4, Nathaniel was like 6. So he would leave us home by ourselves. Older brother Nathaniel would watch us. He'd go drive taxi. Back at those times, you get caught with BCW, they come take away your kids and send them to foster home. But, you know, we were immigrants. So, shout outs to all the Mexicans. Yeah. Shout outs to all the Mexicans. I know exactly what y'all went through. I grew it up. I feel you.
BCW, damn.
BCW.
Yeah.
Anybody knows? Anyone my age know what that is. They changed it. What's the new name now? What's the child welfare? But there's a new name for it. The new because back then it was called Bureau of Child Welfare. Now they call it something else, but whatever.
Like ACS or some shit like that?
Yeah, ACS, yes. That's a new name for the kids. But back there was a Bureau of Child Welfare. So my father used to leave us home because he had to go. One time we were hungry and my brother had to kneel down on his fours, and because I used to watch my father cook eggs. I used to love eggs, and I used to stand on my brother's back, fry eggs to make us eat while my father was working. This is why it got so hard that we had to
struggles.
The struggles. This leads into why we started packing bags, because we were like, Dad's not making enough money. He used to complain that he has to try to get the rent, and he has to go out and keep driving longer hours. So it's like, we're going to pack bags and we're going to make some money. We use some of it and buy our toys so he doesn't have to buy the toys. We lend some of our money. Well, we didn't lend it. We just gave it to him.
If you don't mind me asking,
yeah,
where was your mom during this time?
My mother was with another man. She had left my father and went to my stepdad. So you guys grew up with your father? Yeah, we grew up with, well, for the most part, because when we turned around like 11 or 12, my mother wanted to see us. My father wasn't that type of father. It's like, oh, you left me alone to raise them for this amount of time, and now you want to come and see them. So he's like, you want to go see your mother? And that's when we went to Parkchester. And we used to go there. But for the most influential times of my life was the struggle with my dad. It made me understand what real struggle is. That's why when people go in America, they go, I'm poor. I find it funny. Because the poor that me and my father struggled through, me being here in Jamaica, that's also a joke.
Yeah.
Like, there's poverty and then there's destitution. I've seen destitution. It made me appreciate, thank God I was in poverty.
Right.
When you're destitute, that is the end. Destitute is death. That is the only direction when you're in destitution, death. And there's a lot of people who go through destitution. So we used to pack bags and let my father one day cry. He was like, I'll give it back to you. He was like, no, Pop, we're your soldiers. And that made him tear up because like, these are my kids, helping and whatnot. So he was like, you know, when you guys get older, he's like, one day I'm not going to be here and all you're going to have is your brothers and you guys got to stick together. So my father instilled into me brotherhood off top. So after, you know, doing all of that, that's what I understood what family was like for what it really is. Family, people need to understand there's a big difference between relatives and family.
Oh, shit.
They're not the same.
Never turn your back on family. Dominic Toretto.
There's a big difference. You have relatives, but like that's not your family. Then you have family. So I realized that, and then I was like, all right, cool. So let's skip my teenage years and go to Job Corps, meet the Empress, come back out, and Videoland was already established, and I was like, I've been playing games most of my life, and I took such a great liking to video games. I'm like, yo, I want to master it. So I'm going to enter the Empire. So the first guy truly in EMP was Kramer, which you guys had as a guest on the show. Yeah, I'm like, one can argue because it depends on me meeting people and people being in the Empire are two different things. Because I
Right.
didn't meet Kramer first. Who did I remember? Who did I meet first? The first person I met before everyone. All right, it would be Jermaine, Gaming Night. That's the first guy I met.
I don't know who the hell that guy is. I know a lot of people.
Yes, you do.
No, you do. You
know
just
Gaming
don't remember.
Night.
Yeah, not
Oh,
Nightmare,
okay.
not Nightmare. The
No.
guy.
Gaming Night, man. I
guy
want to
who made
say, I want to say something.
The guy who made the Empire Arcadia website. That's him. You know, if I showed you a picture of him, you'd be like,
No
oh,
Gaming Night.
man.
Yipes.
You know
Gaming
Gaming
Night.
Okay.
Trust
All
me,
right, bet.
we've introduced you to him. So he was the first I said, because you know all the guys. Before he made the website and whatnot, Gaming Night and me, we used to play video games together. This is shout outs to Fordham Road, shout outs to Big Phil. You know, you talk about comic book Phil, and we used to go in there.
Yeah.
I met Edwin. That's where I met a lot of these guys. But we would, at that time, as I lived on Valentine Avenue, I moved in with my wife at that time, the Empress, and I used to play video games. But I wanted to test my boundaries in video games because it was all retro. So I was the old man that wasn't really into the PlayStation. I wasn't really into the Sega Saturn or any of the games. I felt only scrubs played those games.
Oh, wow, that's the upgrade in that era.
Yeah, I thought only bums play those games. And then I went to Kwame, Neo Crash. and that is when I met the god himself, Jerron Hero Grayson.
Oh,
And when I met,
guys, so one sec, try for guys. All these names he's been dropping, they have been on previous episodes of No Frills. So if you haven't seen those, make sure you catch up. All right, continue, Triforce.
So when I met Jerron, and I'll make a long story short, because so many guys I got to fit in this story. I saw him playing fighting games. Really wasn't into the fighting games. I'm like, look at this, it's cheap. Look at this guy. He just keep throwing in. What can you do about it? This is so stupid or whatever. But Jerron was interested in like actual traditional games. So I said, oh, okay, I have a fighter who's actually interested in traditional games. And he's like, yo, you play games? I was like, yeah, but mostly console. I have like a ton of games, like 500 video games in my house and stuff like that. And he was like, what? And I was like, yeah. And I used to come and hang out with Jerron all the time. And he's like, yo, what type of, I told him I had some old wrestling games. He's like, yo, you mind if I come over and play? So I was like, yeah, sure. So this is the story of Triforce goes into the street and pluck kids off the street to bring him to his house. I'm like, nah, we used to meet in the arcades and chill all the time. And dudes asked, can they come over and play video games? So I'm like, okay, right? So Jerron used to come over and Jerron played. And then Jerron's like, yo, I know a guy, he's mad nice at video games. He plays a role-playing game just like you, like Final Fantasy and Zelda. I'm gonna introduce you to him. What's his name? The Brain.
Who?
The Brain. That was his name.
The Brain?
That was his name before we known him as Santhrax. Snapper's gonna get mad because he's like, why'd you tell him that, Triforce?
What?
So, yes.
The Brain.
The Brain. Yes.
I'm fuck around playing in a set like Street Fighter 5 or more, and I'm like, damn, I knew you was good.
You
was good. The Brain.
He's gonna
pause. He's gonna pause. Like, what?
Where you get that from?
Brain.
Where you get that from? Hey,
yo, Chris, if you ain't know that's new.
Yeah, that is real. I know.
Yeah. Okay.
Bro, you see my face? I said, who?
Yeah, for real. I should have known if it was Jerron introducing him, but go ahead. Sorry.
The Brain.
So, Jerron introduced me to Sanford, and when I met him, I said, hey, what's going on? So you're the Brain. And he was like, just call me Sanford. I was like, oh, my fault. He said, just call me Sanford. So he kind of gave Jerron that look, like, what you doing? So I was like, oh, what's going on, man? And, you know, I met Sanford at the arcade, and then brought him over to my house, and we saw the video game collection. He's like, yo, you play with these games? And so one after another, then I met Kramer, then I met Dominion, then I met Steve Lugo, then I met Neo. I think you would know Steve is Matrix, but I know
Steve Lugos.
Yeah, the wrestler. So I don't know if you know him, Yipes.
Steve Lugos. I met him before I met you guys. Technically, because he used to run a video game store on Fordham.
No,
well, he used to work in one. He used to work in one. I don't know if he ran it.
He didn't run it. He worked on it. That's how I met Steve as well. And I met all those guys. We went from Valentine Avenue to Marion Avenue to Bedford Park. So I moved like 3 times in that area. And the guys used to just come over and they used to just play games and we used to hone our skills. And then I used to have this paper on my wall, which is, the fax machine papers that you print out and they're all connected. You can even tear
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And every game I beat, no matter how hard the game was, I would just write the game down. So Sanford and Jerron and everyone used to come over to my house with a new game. Triforce, get this game, I bet you can't beat it. And that's how I just kept playing the games. And because I wanted to prove in those guys' eyes that I was actually the game master. And so I used to you can't beat Super Ghouls and Ghosts. And I beat Super Ghouls and Ghosts without dying. And it was, what? Unprofessional.
Oh, talk that shit, man. Hell yeah.
We play on the hardest difficulty here, people. So I'm going to fast forward to what spawned the Empire. So there are different spawning points of the Empire.
Hold on. Now, what were you calling your house?
Oh, Videoland. We're still Videoland at the time.
Okay. We're still Videoland. Okay.
So I decided to then say, okay, guys, a lot of guys here are great at video games. You know what we should do? We should form a crew. And we call what was it? SWL? Something, I forgot the name of what I even called it, but it was supposed to be survivors from Videoland. Because what Videoland was, is we played a multitude of video games in the way you would play Dungeons and Dragons. So we take a refrigerator box, cut it down. We'd create squares in each areas and a big circle here. And we roll dice and they're like 1, 2, 3, 4, and you land on a game. Then you have to play that game under the preconditions of that game, and you have a certain amount of lives. And the objective was to get to the end of the other cardboard to complete the mission. So we had games like Einhinder, R-Type Delta, Thunder Force 5, Super Ghouls and Ghosts. We had some crazy games where people would get killed in it. If you died, your soul would go to an imprisoning area, and then guys was like, Triforce, rescue me, please. I'm like, if I rescue you, give me a life. Yeah, and I had to go to Pac-Man. I'd have to turn my character around, roll the dice, go to Pac-Man. I'd have to beat the first 3 levels. If I kill all the ghosts perfectly, I'd release your soul and bring you back. It's a godlike game set. So we used to play those games.
Sounds fun.
Yeah, it was very fun. We used to play that Die Hard 24/7. And I was like, yo, we're so nice at video games. Why don't we make a crew and go out and go play? And so we call it Survivors of Videoland. Right?
Now, before you continue, so you guys are talking about Videoland, right? I remember a specific story in the arc where apparently Sanford lost to was it Jerron?
Why would you do that? Why would
he lost to the first? Hey, listen, I just remember the story.
Why would you do that?
I definitely gonna hear the story.
Oh,
apparently he got hit by the first Goom. I forgot which Super Mario. Please.
All right, so it was Super Mario 1. I'm not gonna say no names because I'm.
No. This is no frills, my brother.
I know who it was.
You gotta air it out.
You don't say it. I am.
You gotta air it out.
First of all,
no frills.
It was Sanford. It wasn't Gerard. So it was Sanford. Sanford was like, I seen this game. It's Super Mario Brothers, and he was walking. He wasn't paying attention, and he died. And we looked at him. We was like, yeah, that Goomba has so many medals. He's like, why? He's like, so what if I died? And he's like, no one dies to the first Goomba, dude. Nobody dies to the first Goomba. That was a thing. If you died to the first Goomba, that's shame. So there was a shame lower than that.
What?
Super Castlevania for the Super Nintendo. You know the beginning of the game. You walk, you collect your power-ups, you jump on the closing drawbridge to go in, and then you start the game. Jerron fell in the water.
Ooh, roasted
what was the look?
Session.
Did Jerron look around and see like if anybody was looking? Like
I had caught it when I turned. I was like, and Jerron was like, because he didn't want, nobody didn't know he wanted to start over. But then Sanford was like, that's a new low. That's a new low. He's like, because Sanford wanted to get out of the low. Because he's like, that's the new low. You die in the intro of Super Castlevania. And anybody who's had Super Castlevania would know, that was a shame. Gerard Well, Duran's older now, so it's all fun and games and jokes and stuff like that. We look back at it and whatever. But it was crazy because I was like, I can't believe you. He's like, I tried to jump on the bridge and the bridge went up, and I was like, I don't know what to tell you that. So, but
anyway, continue.
Yeah. So we moved from that to then going from my house to go back into the arcades, and I carried this graph paper with me, and we would go to before Chinatown. We would go to Playland and Broadway City. And in this graph we had your name, your wins and your losses. And the ideal was to go and play whatever games you can. Doesn't matter what the genre is. And you beat the game, right? You only get one quarter. You rack up as many wins as you can. And if you lose, you put a lose on your thing. So you go to Street Fighter, or at that time, there was Street Fighter Alpha, there was Street Fighter 2, there was Marvel Superheroes, etc. And those guys would go and play those games, right? I played it safe. I played the games I knew, the arcade games I knew I can beat on one quarter, so I would get a W. And I tried not to get any losses as most as possible. There was a few fighting games I knew I could play. And you can get off a fighting game without taking an L if you can beat everyone on it and then finish your game. So if you scrub everybody and people just get tired of playing you and it's like, just let them beat the game so it can come off, and you beat the game, that count, you collect all those wins and you take no losses. So Street Fighter 1, I was godlike at. I could dragon punch left and right straight. Gullo. I'll dragon punch through your fireball, push you in the corner and kill you. So if your Ken wasn't good, you jump into me. What? I'm perfect in everyone. So I used to play Street Fighter and squash everyone. I have the world record for Street Fighter
1.
Yeah, Street Fighter 1. I actually have the world record for Street Fighter 1.
Did you actually play the Street Fighter 1 with the big ass buttons that you press it and then the air goes through and shit? You didn't play that version, okay?
No, I didn't play that. That was ridiculous.
That was crazy. That's how I heard about it 2 years ago. I was like, holy shit, really?
Yeah, I think that version was in the movie Juice. The one with the big button. I think that was in the movie Juice. I'm not too sure, but that's the only time I've ever seen that version in the movie Juice. I've never seen the big button version outside of the 6-button layout. So we did all of that, and I had the best record amongst everyone in the video. And this is where the Empire started. In my heart of hearts, this was the influence that made me assemble and create the infrastructure for Empire Arcadia. So this is what influenced me to architect Empire Arcadia. So everybody used to talk, blah, 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 who's second best in Videoland and whatever. And then one day we was at my friend's Teddy's house, which is Neil. He was playing Street Fighter Alpha. Sanford picked the ball up. And you guys know me. I don't like PlayStation controllers. I don't like that D-pad. Y'all all know this, right?
Yeah.
I like the traditional Super Nintendo full, but I need to be able to feel. I don't like the grooves inside. So I'm trying to Dragon Punch him. I'm not that good with the Dragon Punch on it. And Sanford washed me with ball rod. I didn't complain. It's Sanford. Sanford can kill it. Right. So I'm like, damn, man, I tried to Dragon Punch. And Sanford got upset. He's like, no, you didn't try to Dragon Punch. I knew you was going to get Dragon Punch, and I just beat you. Don't try to diminish my win. And I'm like, that's not even got nothing to do with it, Sanford. And he's like, no, it is. You think you're actually nice in video games, but you're not. You actually really suck, Triforce. Like, you're not on my level. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Sanford? I was like, Sanford, I play games hard. Yes, to yourself, amongst your small little hole in your community down here. But you don't go to places like I do. I go to Chinatown. I play Asians. I play real guys that actually compete in real tournaments. And I compete and I win and I lose. You stay here and you want to beat up on us in these little flimsy games. That's why you don't want to play none of the newer games, because you know you can't. You're not as good as me. I'm good. When you can go on and you can compete and you can get records and you can get recognitions like me, I'm on the internet. I'm in tips and tricks. When you are on my level, then you can talk to me. I'm no longer going to accept this shit when you think you better than me. You best on your block. I'm best out in New York.
That sounds like a Sanford rant.
Yeah. Back then,
that sounds like a Sanford rant.
I like that shit, though.
Yeah.
So, believe it or not, Sanford was 100 trillion% right. I got my first humble pie. I'm like, and I didn't argue with him. I just sit there and said, is it because I'm actually scared to go out there and compete against actual people? I feel like what's the guys who pick safe fights? He always picks fights he can win. I forgot the character that does that. Well, he doesn't, but people say he does. Floyd Mayweather. People say he picks fights he knows he can win.
A fluffer, yeah. Basically, I think.
So I asked myself, am I doing that? Am I really doing that? Am I as good as I think I actually am? And I was like, you know something? I'm going to form a team of gamers. And if I can't be the best, at least I'm going to run the best gaming team in the world. And from the best, I can learn to be as good as I think I am. And I was like, all right, the first thing I need, I said, I need my first soldier. Sanford was mad at me, so I didn't ask Sanford first. I was like, I'm not asking Sanford shit. So this enters the first member of Empire Arcadia, Kramer.
Yep.
That's who I went to first. So I said, Kramer, I'm going to make a team of gamers. And I want us to all learn from each other and become the best in the world. Then I went to Jermaine, and I said, Jermaine, I need a website because I want to do this. And from there, that's how EMP started. Then I started going, Sanford, I have a team. You know something? I'm going to take your word for it. I'm going to go out and I'm going to try to be good. He's like, that's what I'm talking about. He's like, see what I'm saying? He's like, we're brothers. It's a lot of people misunderstand Sanford 100%. I don't understand it. Like, Sanford's a competitor. And that's what competitors are gritty. Michael Jordan's not a nice person. I don't know why people believe, well, he's a nice person outside of basketball, but in basketball, he's not a nice person. He cannot afford to be nice. Look at Kobe Bryant. Mamba mentality. Mamba mentality is vicious. You have to be vicious.
Yes.
That niceness doesn't get you nowhere. It doesn't get you anywhere. So I understood that about Sanford. So I was like, I respect that. If I'm gonna want to be one of the greatest gamers to ever be known, I have to adopt that viciousness from Sanford. Which, for anyone who ever wonders, does Triforce like this guy Sanford? It's always, they go, Triforce like Sanford's dad and whatever. Because a part of Sanford imprinted on me and made me better as a person, competitive
and passionate.
Passionate. That's where I got it from. I got that ruthless aggression on some Chris Benoit. The ruthless aggression was from Sanford. That's why, when I watch Sanford play with Sentinel and go, and he hits you with that long fist and go, and you get a bang that in arcade. That's what I'm talking about. A ruthless aggression.
I'm not gonna lie, man. Listen, I came a little bit humble into the scene. That shit kind of rubbed off on me, man. A little bit, man. Everybody got little kills in the back in the New York CF
Everybody, even Justin got kills in him.
Yeah, a little bit kills.
Yeah.
ECC9. Yo, Justin banged the machine on me. No, I didn't. I'm looking at Justin. I'm like, oh my God, Justin, you lied. I'm like, come on, Jay. Come on, Jay. Kills is getting in your ass. You knew you bagged the machine. Come on, B. You knew you bagged the machine. That's nothing against Justin. It's just a lot of people from the outside don't understand, what made you guys great. What made you nice on Yipes? What made Matrix nice? What made Desmond nice? What made Smooth Mike nice? It's the ruthless aggression, never to surrender, no matter what god you think. When Yipes came into the scene, I was like, Sanford is Vegeta, Justin is Goku, and Yipes is like, well, I guess I'll be Broly. Ruthless aggression. We don't settle for, oh, you're Goku, I'm gonna be Yamcha. We don't do that. That's not what happens here. We don't do that in here. You better find Beerus. We talking about Jiren. Get them names up in here. Get these big boys up in here. That's what we do. Whoever's the weakest link, you can't go on the weakest link. You have to become stronger. And then the weakest link now has to find a way to rise to the top and make the strongest now the new weakest link. That's what made us so good. And then that's when I got the arc. And I was like, okay, so we got a gaming team here. Let's see what we can do with this gaming team.
So just for the people who don't know, explain to the people the concept of arc.
Okay, so the ARC stands for Arcadian Recreational Center. So every people go, what does Arcadian means? It means gamers from the arcade or citizens from the arcades. So you have America, people from America are called Americans.
I like that.
So you have the arcades. So the people from the arcades are called Arcadians. So it was the Arcadian Recreation Center. And that's where we gathered all of the top players. There's a lot of people who don't want to be recognized as members of Empire. You ain't got a choice. See that Guinness plaque back there? Your name is in the archives, B. So for all the Marns and the Arturos and all the different people that's been in the Empire, you'll never be forgotten. You can forget me, I'll never forget you.
You can spit them. You can spit.
No, I'm spit. Because you have to understand. There's a notion that I have an issue with former members in the Empire, Tampa Bison, YouTube King, blah 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 blah. I'm 44. Behave yourself. There's COVID-19 going on the world. Whatever nonsense happened to the FGC for whatever reason is irrelevant. Or as the architect says, as at this point, irrelevant. It's all irrelevant. All that matters is the contribution of the players, from the PR Aura to ESA, all of these members that joined EMP. From our guys in Canada, who did we have? Prez, and there was one other gentleman from Canada that represented.
Did we have JS Master at one point?
Point, yes, we had JS Master for a short period of time. Yeah, a lot of guys join, and then the pressure of the fighting game community makes them leave. But I don't have any ill will towards them. I understand the scene was pulling itself together. So people, when you say Snake Eyes was a part of EMP, Snake Eyes literally went online as I was never part of EMP. But there's a video with me and Snake Eyes in his contract. The king of Chinatown, I'm like, Snake Eyes, look, you don't have to like me. But just you can just say I made a mistake and I was a part of Empire. If you need to throw me under the bus, just say that. But you should be proud. Be proud that you contributed to the world's most winning esports team. Never let that go. Don't let any idiot tell you because they don't like Triforce.
Say that again. The world's most what?
Let me not be a scumbag. I'm just gonna read it because I have this is the first. No, that's the second one. That's the third one. The most documented tournament wins for esports team stands at, which is now way over. Well, that one says 2,000, but I still keep an archive of all our tournaments that we're still winning. We're past 2,600. Literally, still to this day. I still big shout outs to KDZ, big shout outs to Rogue Yoshi, Sanford Kelly, Jerron, big shout outs to Huggy Bear out there. He's still winning them wins. Big shout outs to Deadly Alliance, Sinji, big shout outs to Sule out in Africa and the Silverbirds here in Jamaica for putting it down for us in FIFA. We still got players that compete and they still win. Every win counts. Every world championship counts. People think, you didn't win anything real. Well, we won 13 Evo championships. Name another team in the history of the fighting game community that has done that. None. The closest was Critical Reaction and Echo Fox, but they dissolved Echo Fox.
This is obviously from Sonic Fox, most of them.
Obviously, whoever gets Sonic Fox, you can rack up championships. It's like buying the championship. Yeah. Sonic Fox is like the Rolando of basketball. Well, not basketball. Of video games. He just wins. It's an auto win or whatever the case may be. But that's the closest they get. He's now on Team Evil Genius, and Evil Genius. Well, I don't know what happened to Evo this year, but that was a total shame. But Sony will eventually get it. They have enough money. And that's chapter 3 stuff. We'll stick to where we are right now. But that's when I understood that we had some of the most talented players, from Ricky Ortiz to Flash Metroid. The guys started bringing in. A lot of people think that Triforce is the one that goes out and recruits these people. The fact you can even ask Matrix and Yipes. Members who joined EMP were recruited by other people, and then those guys recruit their friends, and bring them in. They come and they recommend Triforce, this guy's nice, blah, blah, blah. I had no idea who Ricky Ortiz was. Ricky Ortiz is West Coast. Arturo and Justin brought him in. Sanford brought in Justin. Jerron brought in Sanford, etc., etc. It wasn't until the latter years of EMP, and what I mean by the latter years, I'm talking about like the prime years, 2008, 2009, when I started going and doing the recruiting myself. That's how I'm the one who met Me Too King. I'm the one who brought Me Too King. And I met Me Too King in Night Clan.
Night Clan. Wow,
yeah.
Throwback.
That's where I met him when he was just learning Fox. And he was fighting against Wes and those guys and Wong and them. And he was at that time, he didn't care how many times he lost. He was just trying to perfect wave shine. That's all he cared about. Wave shine, wave shine, wave shine. It would stop, wave shine, would stop, wave shine, would stop. And then until it was a West Coast tournament we went out to called Revelations. Is it Revelations? Or I forgot the name of it. It starts with an R though. And I met him there and he was played against I can't remember this guy's name, but it was a guy who he picked Meta Knight just like him, and he's talking so much shit to Me Too King. Me Too King's greatest weakness is mental fortitude. If you can get into Me Too King's head, you'll beat him. That was Me Too King's greatest weakness. And I told Me Too King, I said, there's a way, if he's going to be cheap with Meta Knight, you have to be cheap with Meta Knight. So he's a Smash player. He has no idea about fighting meta. Smash does not have fighting meta. Well, actually, that's not true. Smash has fighting meta, but very few people use fighting meta in Smash. Okay. So Me Too King didn't realize that, like, yo, you can just, I said, look, bait him to the edge of the screen. When he gets to the edge of the screen, you are superior in the air than he is. Try to get him to fight you off the screen. And if you can down smash him, spike him, and get back onto the screen, run for the rest of the match. Me Too King was down again. Me Too King did that. The guy came out to Me Too King. Why you running for? Why you running? I'm up again. And then Me Too King spiked him down and got up on the screen. And all he kept doing was this under the screen. And the guy just looked at him and it's like, yo, Triforce, stop talking to him. I talked to him before the match. And he's like, yeah, but like you're giving him strategy. I'm like, yeah, in between matches. I'm not talking to him. No, there's a problem. Anyway, he lost. Me Too King went on to win the tournament. And I said, you have talent, but you need more than your physical ability. Your physical ability is not enough. You need more than that if you're going to want to, win or whatever the case may be and move forward. So I asked Me Too King if you want to join the MP, and that's how Me Too King joined the MP. And then Me Too King vanished and went on his rogue warriors, like on some Ryu shit. He just went on tournaments on his own. I'm like, where'd he go? And we met him up at Guts up in Boston. It was me, KDZ. This is when Injustice came out and so forth. And that's when we met him back, and then we got him back into the fold, and then Me Too King just went on a tear. 2009, 2010 MLG, and then yeah. Me Too King got banned from MLG for collusion and all this other stuff, and I'm just let me clear a name for Me Too King, right? And it's not me being nice. It's just I just don't like lies. So it's when I know something is wrong. It doesn't matter if I like the person or not. If I get along with them, it's irrelevant. I just want to make sure that the record is out there. The e-file for you guys. Forward asked the Me Too King to dive to him. Me Too King did not want to dive to him. I seen the message. Me Too King showed it to me. Because when he got banned from MLG, I was like, what happened? And he's like, they banned me and Forward from MLG for collusion. So I was like, what? And he's like, yeah, because I dived to Forward in the tournament. And because I knew I could just kill everyone on the loser bracket and just come back up and win. And I'm like, Me Too King, you cannot do that. I'm like, because Me Too King, young, doesn't know certain things.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's like, why? He's my friend. I said, yes, he's your friend, but in competitive gaming, there are rules. Nobody told me that. I understand. So I had to actually contact Sepso and DiGiovanni and explain to him, young kid, he doesn't know any better. It is our responsibility. Even though that's not a rule written down, Empire Arcadia as an esports team should have told Me Too King that. But I assumed he would know that. So that then it becomes my fault because I should not have assumed anything. I should have had these policies and rules down for members in the team and stuff like that. And keep in mind, Empire Arcadia was like a real, it was a play as you go. So we trip, we get up, we keep running. We trip again, we get up, we keep running. So there's a lot of things I had to learn and whatnot. So I wrote an apology on behalf of the team, Empire Arcadia, asking MLG, could you please forgive? Because Mewtwo King got life ban from MLG. It was a life ban for it. And we told him that Empire Arcadia would take that hit, right? The company would send a public apology. We sent it into Sepso and DiGiovanni. They said, okay, fine. He's banned for that season to play. That's how Mewtwo King got back to play. VVV, who was a sponsor of Mewtwo King at the time, was trying to poach him off of us, like many teams trying to poach players off the EMP. The minute they saw that Mewtwo King did that, just deaded him. And I told Mewtwo King, I said, this is what professional esports teams do. Empire Arcadia is more of a grassroots esports team. We play in the pro leagues, but our infrastructure is grassroots. We're gamers that made our own gaming team, as opposed to a team like Evil Genius, which is businessmen that made a gaming team that gamers are on. So there's a big difference, and I think Empire Arcadia is the last grassroots pro team in the world.
With that many ill hitters, yeah.
I've done. If I'm wrong, somebody drop that in the comment. Let me know if you have a grassroots team that plays at the pro level.
And we're basing this off of obviously fighting games, Smash games. This, and mind you, Empire was a collective of just all types of games. Like, it wasn't just fighting games, but we've just shined the most at the time in fighting games. Yeah. So
and that's how we got our name, because of Yipes and Sanford and Justin and Mewtwo King and Armada and DC. That's where we got them. That's what made Empire blow up. Now it's my job as an architect. Okay, what is the principal law of Empire Arcadia? It's not what you win. It's what
you do with the win.
Yep. So I'm like, okay, these guys are out here washing up. I am not going to allow these championships to go unclaimed. So I was like, we are going to form a dynasty. And I was like, in order to form a dynasty, I have to expand into other games. That's where Gears of War comes into play. Shout out to J-Ribs. Yep. Shout out to Chaos. Shout out to Fatal Strike. Shout out to Terror. Shout out to all those guys in Gears of War that played for EMP and rep so hard. Guys won us 21 different tournaments. We won an MLG. We won a World Cyber Games. These guys, they were the Sanford, Yipes, and Justin for Gears.
It was really smoking shit. I seen it in person, bro. That shit was pretty bad. It was pretty free. It was to the point where there was situations like if they get sent to losers and they already knew what they was gonna do coming back up to win the whole shit. So and that was pretty OD.
And they just come back and wash everyone.
Yeah, it was free. It was free. I remember.
And a big shout out for because we had different Gears teams. The Gears teams changed as our rosters changed. As we started out with Curbs, Fatal Strike. And then a couple other guys, and then we moved into Richie, which is Terror, and then J-Ribs, Mephisto, and a couple other guys that represented. They changed. They had it was Team Legacy to Team Infinity.
I remember that.
Now a lot of guys go, well, if they're called Team Legacy and Team Infinity, so just so everybody understand, Empire Arcadia is the esports conglomerate. That's the teams. Like, did you know that the Yankees? The company for the New York Yankees is called the New York Yankees, and their team is called the New York Yankees. So Empire Arcadia houses many different teams that represent divisions, because unlike other teams at that time, because there are teams now that's like that, like Evil Genius expanded past PC games. They now do fighters. They've always done like MOBA games and stuff like that. They have all these other genres. But Empire Arcadia was the first esports team that was multi-genre. We were just known the most for fighting games because that's where we excelled at or whatever. So in the Empire, we had multiple different teams. So we needed division.
And, just one quick interjection. Just for those of you who don't know, Triforce was also the first person, at least I heard, that really wanted to unify the East Coast.
That's a fact.
That was one of the main purposes of the Empire also, was to unify the East Coast.
We're gonna get into that. Let me finish this part, because we got to get back to that. Right?
Okay. Go ahead. Okay. Do your thing.
So we had this collage of different teams. We had players that played retro games, puzzle games, racing games, shooter games, fighting games, you named it. And each section had a different division. Smash Brothers was its own section. It wasn't a part of Empire Arcadia's fighting game division. The fighting game division was separate. That's where Deadly Alliance comes from. That's where West, Compton, Kubu, those guys, Dyer, they ran Smash Brothers for EMP. So any player that has ever played in Empire Arcadia in Smash Brothers was under the Deadly Alliance division. The same thing for the Gears of War division. That was Team Legacy at the time, and then it changed to Team Infinity and so forth. So those were all the different teams that we played. So like I said, we played in World Cyber Games, we played in EVO, we played in MOG, we played in all of the mid-level circuits. In the fighting game community, we call them majors, but they should have just been called the mid-league, because the major should have been EVO itself, but we call EVO Worlds and so forth. So EVO was always a World Fighting Game Championship. I used to argue with people, and people would say, no, Triforce, EVO is not as big as Super Battle Opera. So we're Super Battle Opera now. Anyway, that was a complete disrespect, and I meant it. So I've always run against Super Battle Opera, not because I don't like it. Super Battle Opera was Japan's championship.
Ridiculous.
Evolution was the world championship. I used to argue with people in Chinatown about it. Nah, Triforce, that's not what it is. I'm like, you know what it is? You guys praise the Asians so much. You're not looking at this for what it is. Everyone in the world comes to Evolution. Specific invites go to Super Battle Opera. Right. So you can't call Super Battle Opera the World Championships. EVO is the World Championships. Period. Eventually, to when EVO just said, you know what we're going to call it? EVO Worlds. And that just ended everyone's nonsense. So I was like, told you. So everyone had to just deal with that. So speaking of the whole Asian thing, when we decided to like move in now, my first thing was, okay, we have to look at the nation, right? Because I've heard stories. When I went to get into the fighting game scene to see where Empire could go in the fighting game scene, I need the history. So the first thing I did is I watched the movie Bang the Machines. And I realized, why is America divided? This is stupid. I saw the Eddie Lee situation. I was like, why are they doing that to the guy? This guy's nice. Put him on a team. We have a common rival, Japan. What is really good? And I saw what they did with the West Coast. And I was like, oh, so that's what we're doing. I said, okay. Since there's a super powerhouse on the West Coast with those guys, like the United States representing with Mike Watson and Afro Code and whatever, we're going to do what they did for the West Coast with the East Coast. And I was like, Empire Arcadia will represent the East. Let us unite the East. And that's when we had the famous Chinatown argument at Wohop. And sorry for using this word. I try not to use this word as I'm older now. But for the context of this conversation and for historical purposes, we're arguing in Wohop. Triforce, you don't understand. The Asians not nice. Japan is nice. And I'm like, niggas bleed just like us. Picture a nigga scared of a nigga that breathes the same air as me. Sanford used to be like, you don't understand, Triforce. I'm like, they're human. They are human. We will bust that ass. Desmond used to be like, Triforce. Sanford kind of was not really hearing that whatnot. And I was like, our job is to go around this nation and whoop everyone's ass and claim hail to the Empire, which when Justin and Sanford went to UCLA, 2002 or 3. I think it's 2.
I think it was 3. I think.
No, it was 3.
If it's 3, it has to be early. Was it January?
It was early 3.
Okay, early 3.
That was Tips and Tricks, right?
Yeah, Tips and Tricks.
Yeah, that's all 3.
Yeah.
When Justin won, Justin came up on the stage and said, "Hail to the Empire." And Mike Ross was like, "What the fuck?" Mike was like, "The fuck is the Empire?" And then Tips and Tricks, I told Justin, tell Tips and Tricks, there's a gaming team in the East called Empire Arcadia. And that's how we got into Tips and Tricks. But Tips and Tricks thought we were an arcade. I was like, no, we're not an arcade. I said, we operate in a gaming store. Big shout outs to Mr. J. Game Express. Gotta give the shout outs. These humble beginnings. If not for that Korean man, we would have never had no base of operations. And there's people out there talking about Triforce stole money from Game Express to fund members in Empire Arcadia. Let's put the facts on this. I asked Mr. J, can you finance our team? And it's like, and how are you going to pay me back? I will work the hours. I'll send the players out. I'm not trying to put Jay on that some IRS shit right here, but I said I'll work 80-hour weeks. I'll sleep in the store. Matrix, you know this.
Yeah.
I'll sleep in the store.
Yeah.
I'll sleep in the store. I won't go home. I'll sleep in the store so I can get the overtime, so that I can make the money. But I need the money now. Borrow $2,000 from the safe. Boom. How you think Empire was being paid for? So I would work 80-hour weeks and sleep in the store so I can fund the Empire.
This is facts.
To get the guys to get out on the trips and whatnot. Justin, don't worry about me. For people don't even know, Justin worked in the store with me. Justin, Sanford, Craymore, Dominion, Jerron, they all worked in the store with me.
Yep.
Nightmare, the twins, all Strange, all of these guys worked in the store. They can tell you Triforce slept in the store. Triforce would run, do the inventory at night, go to sleep 12 midnight, wake up 6 o'clock, slide under the gate, open the gate up at 6, get everything ready, set up the register in the whole 9 yards, wait to open up at 8, everyone comes into the store. Sometimes guys are at tournaments, I clock them in for work while they're at a tournament, and I run the store solo while they're winning for the Empire.
While they're winning for the Empire. I have personally witnessed this. This is facts.
They come back from winning a tournament. They try for us. I won a tournament. These are the early years of the FGC. I didn't really make that much money. Here's your check. I wasn't here. I clocked you in. Don't worry about it. Wow. So for those who go Triforce, you're a scumbag. Yeah, I'm a scumbag for my people. That's what we do. That's what we do. Trust me. That's what we do. If I had a sponsor, if I had better backing, I wouldn't have to do what I did. But that's what you got to do. You see, people keep forgetting America was never founded on hearts and flowers in a professional way. They robbed, cheat, killed, genocide, raped, and murdered. And now here are we in the land, here are y'all in the land of the free, home of the brave. You got to do what you got to do.
God damn.
He said, not here, over there.
Only in America.
Yeah. You gotta do what you gotta do. So my mentality at that time was, these are my family. They go out and they wear that shield, that crest on their chest. They represent the team. If I gotta work 80 hours to make sure that they can do it, then we gonna do that. That's how that works. And I had some guys that before, this is the whole, let's address the firing scandals at Game Express. So there was a bunch of guys, I don't know who they are. I was given a store. I was supposed to manage a store. I got the sale numbers up because I work. You guys know me, I'm 24/7. All I do is work. I get like 4 hours of sleep a day. I've been doing this for the last 25, 30 years. So, and I learned this from my father because that's all he does, right? And he did that till they put him in his grave. And I went and I buried him and I saluted him. And he died at around 60. So I probably got 20 more years left in me before I find the same fate. That's just the way it is. But when I used to do that, there was guys before I hired the members in EMP to come and work at the store. And those guys, I don't know who they were. There was some no frills, no pun intended, dudes. So I was like, yo, Jay, can you transfer these guys to a store? He's like, why? I was like, I want to hire some guys of my own. That's how I end up hiring Justin, hiring Sanford, hiring all those guys. So I cleared those guys out. These people, I don't know these people. You're not familiar, you can't work here. Oh, that's wrong, Triforce. What's the word? Nepotism. Yeah, I was nepotism out the ass. Hell yeah. You kidding me? We would not get these world records if it wasn't for watching the family. I got to feed the family, B. What's wrong with you people? So that's how I got them in. To the point I then left Game Express. We fell into some hard times. Empire fell into a hard time in 2005, 6, 7. Because I lost my house. Well, I lost where I live personally. Went through some rough time with the Empress because I was putting the Empire ahead of my wife. That's how far I put the family. I put the family. And I'm 44, so I can admit this. I was a terrible husband. I put the Empire before my wife. Oh, that'll never happen now. That's never happening again. I've learned my lesson. I'm married, well, I'm a new wife and whatnot. And now we don't put that. If any of you guys know what I'm doing with the Valkyries of Arcadia, I put the Empress before the Empire. But in a sense, it's kind of different now because the Empire is already established in its legacy. So the Empire doesn't need to. When was the last time Empire Arcadia won anything? When was the last time the Yankees won anything? When was the last time Manchester United won anything? Well, who cares? It's Manchester United. It's the Yankees. They're godlike for life. They could not win another championship for the next 30 years. Who cares? When was the last time the Celtics won a championship? 2009? Dude, they got 17. Like, we got 21 and we in Guinness. We don't care. If someone came to me, give me an example. If someone came to me,
it's a throwback to me. I'm sorry.
Triforce, what? We just won the FIFA World Championship. I'm gonna be like, Empire? Yeah. Their ornaments. You know how many plaques of those I have? Has anyone seen the Ark's wall?
Oh,
I have no place to put the rest of the trophies. That's where we got to. We got to a point where we won so much. We're like, I don't know. Everything has stages. So we're at the dynasty stage. And I remember a line my dad told me. It's not about what you build. No, I'm saying that wrong. It's hard to build, harder to maintain. That's where we're at right now. So it's not about what you win, it's what you do with it. What you do with it is to build something. Once it's built, now you have to maintain.
Mm-hmm.
So Empire Arcadia has been in a maintenance phase for the last 6 years now. So I focus more now on content creation in gaming, finding ways to remarket the legacy, enter new competitive markets, and then pivot into gaming entertainment. And this is where we're at with the Valkyrie. Sanford just captained the Manhattan team for
that shit was fire. Yo, bro, I was losing my shit because that looked like Vincent Sanford there, bro.
Yeah, so, and see what I'm saying? And Sanford was like, yeah, Triforce, I'm gonna do everything I can to win. I said, Sanford, let me take the edge off it, because you're older now, Sanford, and I can't believe you still got that. Sanford's flame has never diminished. It's ridiculous. No. He's nearing 40, and his fire is still. I'm 40, and my fire is like, I'm like, it's IIP. Nah, man. I'm like, all right, Sanford. I said, but Sanford, listen, whether you win or lose, it doesn't matter. Just represent. That's all you got to do. Represent. And he went to the Red Bull and he represented the Empire. Those things keep us relevant. And if Sanford had won, yay! I would have like, wow, on that shit, good shit. Rogue Yoshi just played in Anime Evo, got second in King of Fighters. Good shit. He played in he's the #1 ranked player in Fantasy Strike. And he took 3rd place in, I forgot the name of the game tournament that he did. Shinji's constantly busting ass in Pac-Man and Smash Brothers. Shinji's winning a whole bunch of New York tournaments in New York, and he's the #1 Pac-Man. Well, okay, he's arguably the #1 Pac-Man player in the world. It's a fight between him and T, and everybody keeps arguing about it. But I'm like, I'm going to give the edge over Shinji for 2 major reasons. One, he invented God tier Pac-Man, so T came afterwards, so I'm not going to give the next guy who's just.
Are we talking nice. T as Todd Rogers?
No, T. His name is T in the Smash Brothers community. He plays Pac-Man. He's from Japan. He's the best.
Oh, you're talking about the actual the character Pac-Man?
Yeah, in Smash Brothers.
Oh, I'm bugging. I thought you were talking about like Pac-Man. Never mind.
No,
it wasn't even Todd Rogers. Who was it? In Pac-Man? Is it Todd Rogers or
Billy fucking
Mitchell? Billy
yes.
Mitchell. That guy made barbecue sauce.
Yes,
I'm gonna see what's going on.
They stripped him up. They stripped him of his records, and Billy Mitchell said, "I always got a plan." Came back, what? My man said, "What was my last score that they took?" 1,470. What's it? 1475. Yeah. He said, that's my score. My man got exactly 1475 and killed himself just so he could say we did the record exactly as is. Then went to Guinness, said, wop, wop, wop. Take a look at my evidence. Guinness was like, I'm gonna have to give you your records back, my good sir.
Why did they strip him in the first place?
Because Jace Hall is a bitch ass. That's why. Jace Hall allowed his community to overrun him. There's nothing but corruption in the Jace Hall.
Chris, you know Jace Hall. And mind you, I don't know him personally, but you know Jace Hall?
I know him personally.
No, I'm talking about Chris. You know Jace Hall, bro. He's the guy. He's the guy that got the shit that we did with Justin and Sanford. We commentated at Evo, the Twin Galaxy shit.
The Twin Galaxies fighting tournament where
the guy that was in the stage was like, man, fuck it. Like if it's custom, we don't give a fuck. That guy.
Oh, Jace.
Yes.
Yeah, Jace. Oh yeah, him.
Okay, I know Jace.
He has done some good, so I'm not going to sit here and take away from him. But in my opinion, should I say his name?
You know what? Before we continue, let's put this all on record, guys. In this No Frillz episode, Force has the floor. So whatever it is that he speaks of, we might have relations and shit, but in terms of our personal and stuff like that, we got nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? So just to put that out there, we're not here to just promote some bad shit, to shit on somebody, whatever the case is. We got nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? Force got some things to connect the dots, and he's gonna speak his piece.
I'm not gonna shit on anybody, no matter how bad they are personally. But I will speak on some of the bad things that they've done. Right. So let me be specific about when I said just shitty Jace Hall. I'm talking about shitty Jace Hall in Twin Galaxies, not what he has done outside of Twin Galaxies, not what he has done with Rick Fox, not what he has done with Team Echo Fox. I don't care about any of that because the Twin Galaxies is a special place in my heart because it is the birthplace of esports. People will argue, what do you mean the birthplace of esports? They didn't make esports? The fuck out of here. Walter Day is the fucking father of esports. And anybody else who doesn't like it can eat a dick.
Listen, I did my homework. Yeah, my boy Walter, the OG. I'm gonna tell you right now, in terms of the structure and what you see now, it was definitely Walter Day. So shout out to Walter Day, man, the Godfather for sure. So, and it took me a while, mind you. Triforce spoke those facts to us, and I did my homework, and it's facts. So for sure.
Should probably have not been cursing, just in case you guys need that soundbite, but I felt that I had to be thorough.
What's yours, baby?
So. But I didn't like what Jace Hall did with Twin Galaxies. It's one thing for you to have your opinion about Billy Mitchell as a person. It's one thing for you to believe that Billy Mitchell is a cheater. However, you're running the oldest known esports organization in the world. The very fabric, the matrix, the core of it all is held on Twin Galaxies. Billy Mitchell is a part of that foundation. If you felt Billy Mitchell cheated, provide him with the opportunity to reconcile. We believe you cheated. However, because of your legacy and what you have done to bring Twin Galaxies to this level where I bought it with your name and Walter's name, we're going to give you an opportunity to make amends. We want you to redo the score all over again. No, you know what they did? They let a bunch of crying bitch asses from the Donkey Kong forums argue his score is not real. He did this and that, and he cheated and he played on meme and yada, yada, yada. Jace Hall even said, let me see the record. Okay, he didn't pause state. He didn't, save state. You know when you can save state a game so you can play the perfect game? He didn't save state. So then it's like, okay. I said, let's go with your argument. Let's say Billy Mitchell played on me, just for the argument's sake. Did he cheat? What's cheating? Cheating is purposely knowing you're playing on a particular system and you're using the advantages of that system to get a score out. An exploit. Okay. No. Did he exploit me? Did he save state? No. Did he use a power-up? Did he speed up the game, slow down the game? No. Did he do anything that would have given him a better opportunity at the game? No. Why don't you do this? Take that main game that you're claiming it is, categorize it and put it in the main section. And then say for the continuity purposes of history, we're going to allow you an opportunity to replay the game on a certified Donkey Kong board. And then we're going to use that and say, okay, he's been able to redeem himself. No, you know what he said? Nah, fuck that. We believe. No, here's the funny part. Twin Galaxies never said he cheated. That's the funny part. Twin Galaxies, go to Twin Galaxies, never said he cheated. People said he cheated. Twin Galaxies just said the score is not official, and because it was played on main. Okay, so if it's not official, dump the score, have him redo it again. No, they dumped the score, dumped his legacy, and then banned him for life. What are you doing? Why would you do that? Did he cheat? No, that's extreme. Even if we said we're going to concede to your point, why would you do that? Malice. You had to have done that because you're a bitch ass. That is you are threatening the very fabric of the gaming scene. Much like what Mike Watson did last year to the fighting game community. Okay, Mr. Wizard is an asshole. I don't like Joey. But this shit that he did when he was 17 or whatever he did 22 years ago, that's some dumb shit. Why would you put Evo, the matrix, the core of the entire fighting game scene for the last 30 years in jeopardy? Millions of gamers competing in fighting games around the world, oblivious. You would jeopardize that because you want your revenge on Joey. That's some real bitch ass shit. I have so much dirt on tournament organizers, from theft, money laundering, bracket rigging. It goes to my grave. I'm not destroying the FGC because I don't like a tournament organizer. Who does this? Only an asshole would do that. You have to be an asshole. So, like Watson and like Jace Hall, I have those gripes with those guys. I think Mike Watson's an overall cool dude, but that shit he did last year was some fuckboy shit. That's just me calling it what it is. Just being straightforward. It's like some people, they don't like me. Look, what's that line from Legacy of Kain? Guys, there's no shame in it. You can hate me all you want, but hate me and do it honestly. Hate me for a real reason. Don't hate me because you heard someone say something or it's popular to hate Triforce. Hate me for a real reason. You don't like my locks? Shit, that's kind of bigotry, but that's a better reason than the shit you guys hear online. It's better. You want to hate me because I'm black and I'm an N-word? I'll even give you that. I'll even give you the racist route. You can hate me because you don't like black people. Fine. But do it honestly. And we have a lot of disingenuous, unhonest people in this world, sadly, all over the scene. So that's why I really didn't like what Jace did. But let's get back to the fighting game. So when I got the guys to get the mindset of competing like that, they went to Evo. The biggest breakout for Empire Arcadia was Evo 2006. Shout out to Josh Wigfall. I'm going to tell you why. Josh Wigfall is literally, a lot of people won't know this story unless I take it. Well, actually, it's two people, Josh Wigfall and Desmond. So, in 2006, the Marvel Championships, Sanford played in a tournament and he was exited out of the tournament. I think it was Rotron that put him out. You guys can
I think Duck sent him to losers and Ro took him out.
Yeah, Ro took him out. Yeah. And when Sanford lost, Josh Wigfall came. Sanford, I think, mumbled, man, he'd never beat me in a set. And who from the West Coast heard that?
Was it Chris Lee?
No. It was definitely not Chris Lee. Someone from the West Coast heard that. It was Watson. Holy shit. It was Watson.
and that is his man's $100,000. Duck is his man $100,000.
Watson heard that shit. I was like, what? So Watson's like, fuck up, Triforce. Put your money where your fucking mouth is. And then Josh said, what's going on? I said, Sanford feels he can beat him in a set. And Watson's talking shit. Josh was like, how much you got? 300. I got that. Desmond, the Hawk, slid. I don't know where he came from the three. My message. It was in there. He said, I got 300 on that too. So he's like, 6? I'll find someone to back me on the 6. And then that's how it started.
That's
and then
the snowball effect. Yep.
The snowball effect, and it rolled and rolled, and then it became 3,300 on the East Coast, 3,300 on the.
I'll tell you my number.
I know I was definitely in that mix. I can't remember how much I put up though, but I was in that mix when Desmond pulled up.
I'll give you a humble number. I think you put up either $450 or $500. I put up 300 of my money.
You guys were putting up hundreds. A lot of money just
300 as well.
And it came up to 6,600 total, divided in a half, West Coast, East Coast, and then it was on like fucking Donkey Kong. That shit, in my opinion, is the greatest moment in Evo history for this reason and this reason only. That year, Mike Watson was supposed to shoot me. That's a whole different story.
That shit went up.
Yeah, Chris, you went up. Okay, so what made this the greatest Evo of all time is this Evo unified accidentally the East Coast and the West Coast, because it was a heightened year of the beef between the East Coast and the West Coast, from all the disrespect with Jaha and Sanford to a lot of shit that went down earlier in that year. Jason Wilson was going to hold together a super turbo competition. Mike Watson versus Empire Arcadia. Mike Watson made an absurd bet. Empire Arcadia's 5 guys can't take 10 games off of him in a 100-game set.
Whoa. And this is including like Flash G, Justin, Art.
That he didn't know the team yet.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So he's like, get your 5 guys. I'll fuck all of them up. So I said, Watson, you don't want to take this bet. This is a stupid bet. You're going to tell me each guy can't take 2 games off of you? None. He's like, I'm a 10-0 most of them. The most you get is 5. So he's saying that these guys will total win 1 game each. So I said, okay. How much you want to bet? He said, save your rent money. This is Mike Watson talking mad shit to me. This was
that was the joke of the season too. I remember that shit.
Save your rent money. That ass talk mad shit. So it came up to about $1,000, and then I revealed the Empire Arcadia roster: Sanford Kelly, Justin Wong, John Flash G, not Metro, right? Jerron Grayson. Who was? Wait, Sanford, Justin. So we had one more.
And Arturo.
There. Thank you. So I was like, yeah. So there it is. So then he said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do it," and he did it. I thought it was all good. Jason Wilson hit me up in the background and said, "Hey, listen, we're gonna have to call this off," because it was getting heated. But I thought it was just getting heated for like pay-per-view. You talk mad shit on the line.
The hype sake.
The hype sake. Watson was getting serious. Watson told Jason Wilson he's going to bring a gun to Midwest Championships. If he loses, we're going to have to get it off of him. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm like, I got a Beretta. I'll bring mine. And he was like, Triforce, if you're going to bring a gun, I'm not going to allow you to go to this tournament. I'm just going to cancel the whole thing. I said, but your man's talking about you're going to bring a pistol. What am I supposed to do? And he's like, come on, Triforce, please, listen. We're just trying to. I said, listen, I'll give the man an out. I'll tell him, I'll try to finagle it in the conversation to get him to lower it and not make it a big thing. But we're not going to back out. We got a reputation to keep here. You know, Empire Arcadia is a 2-time Evo champions. Nah, man, the world's looking at us. I don't know what you're going to tell your mans, but we're not backing out. Anyway, it resolved itself. It got canceled. And then when we met at Evo, it was APOC, Mike Watson and the West Coast, Jaha, and they saw me, and I was with Dave. Rest in peace, Dave. You know Dave Kine? He passed away.
I did not know that.
Yeah, last year from COVID.
Damn.
I did not know that. Holy shit.
Yeah, it was some shit. Dave was with me.
Rest in peace, Dave. Wow. Oh, okay.
And they was grilling me. Dave had a clipboard. All I kept thinking in my mind was what Jaha did to Sanford. So I was like, oh, well, looks like I'm going to get jumped in California because they're not going to ride on me. They got me fucked up. So I see Mike Watson and them talking. Cole, APOC, Jaha, Mike Watson, and one other guy. They're all looking at me. And I see Mike Watson coming. So I look at Dave and I grab the clipboard from Dave. You know the clipboard, you know the metal part on it? And I was holding it to the side. I'm like, let off, I'm stealing on it. That's all I was thinking in my mind. They just want to come here, they're going to have to jump me and fuck me up, and I'm just going to get stabbed on the West Coast. On some Crips and Bloods bullshit. This is what it felt like. So Mike Watson came and I'm like, yeah. And I'm just holding it. And he sees me on it. And Mike looks down and he laughs at me. He's like, what you going to do with that? I'm like, let's find out. And he's like, watch your back in the tournament, man. Just watch your back. And he's like, I was like, all right, man, all right. And then that's when, what's his name? Josh Wigfall came up. And Josh was like, yo, what happened? Y'all got beef? I said, they're not riding on the East like this, man. We're not letting it happen. He's like, yo, chill, Trevor. Don't make no issue in it. I said, I am not making an issue. They're not going to do me like that. You're not doing me. I'm older than these. I'm their age. I'm from their generation. No one is slapping me and throwing me no water. It's not. They're going to put a bullet through me first. So they talk to Seth Killian. They ask Seth Killian, can you calm this shit down? Seth says, listen, I'm not calming anything down. You guys can't deal with this like men. I'm just going to throw all of you out. Now, Seth was just on that shit. He was like, I'll just throw all of you guys out. I'm not going to fuck up evil for you guys. And that's just the way it is. Then he told Chris, and then Chris was like, hey, listen, you guys get it together, or you're out. That's it. Big Chris. That's God damn. What they feeding this motherfucker? So I was like, so I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna play it safe and whatever. And then when that situation with Sanford using to duck and then roll, and then the bet came in, I think the bet created a competitive spirit that mended everything. And remember the bum rush in the part that they cut out of the Evo documentary 2006? One side had the East Coast, one side had the West Coast, and they were cheering for Sanford and Duck, and it was getting kind of like it looked like it was going to be a mosh pit fight between East and West. And Chris came up to us with the cannons, and it's like, Triforce, Watson. I remember they screamed at us. I'm like, why are you screaming at me? I got nothing to do with that. Both of you, come here. And it's like, you guys are going to get this shit together. I want every leader from both of the coasts come together, and you guys are going to hold hands. And remember that, and make a line and divide the East Coast and West Coast. And I had to hold Watson's hand. I had to hold fucking Watson's hand. We had to all act. We had to all get along as friends. And it was like, or they're gonna. That's when that part you see in the Evo documentary is like, if you guys are gonna act like this, we will stop this entire tournament. People didn't know the shit that was going on. So it was me, a bunch of us. We had to create the divide. The West was on one side, the East was on the other side, and all the OGs and leaders of East Coast, Chinatown, we took Josh Wigfall, Desmond, myself, but we all had to stand in the middle. And it was a beautiful competition. It was so hype. It didn't matter what the winner is. It just really made us go. And then Watson came up to me. He's like, you're not a fucking bitch like I thought you was. I thought you was some scrawny ass Jamaican guy I could just fuck up. I said, but I like you, man. You're a cool guy. And me and Watson shook hands and we became friends ever since then. I'm friends with Watson. I don't know if Watson's friends with me. I just think the shit he did last year was some dumb shit. That's just fucking stupid. But we was friends. I've been his friend since that time. So I don't have no animosity to him. But those are like the things that go on in the scene that make the fighting game scene so gritty. It's the storylines. It's like the WWE. It's the storylines. We don't get that attitude era storylines no more. You get this. I don't know what the fuck this is, but we got some. I don't know what the hell this is, but that's what make the storylines. And people don't understand that the fighting game scene has dwindled. Because the fighting games is not about the games. It's about the people. The games change every year.
Yep.
It's the people. The people, they are Seth Killian. This is where I got this line from.
It's not the hate.
No, it's not about the content. It's the context behind it. And I was like, I remember Seth Killian telling me this at a Philly tournament. It was Big East tournament. He was having a conversation about it. He said, I like what you're doing with EMP Triforce, because you don't focus just on the games. The games is the content. The content will always change. It's the context behind it. It's the people. And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, no one cares about the basketball that goes in the hoop. No one cares about who's dunking it. No one cares about the baseball or the bat. It's who's hitting it. No one cares about the football, who's running it. That's what sports is. Nothing without the people. Same for video games. It's nothing without us. The video game industry has no power. We, the people, have all the power. Governments in the world have no power. The moment we go, fuck this, you're done. That government's over. Rome burnt. Name an empire still alive today because the people decided to say, we're going to sit this out. Every empire has fallen because of the people. When the people get tired, that's it. Since the people that run things, so I realized that I have to run Empire Arcadia based on the people. I have to take care of the people. And a lot of us growing up dropped out of school. A lot of people think, oh, Triforce made a lot of these guys delinquent and took them out of school. Some of these guys don't know that some of these guys' parents are dead. People don't know that. People didn't know. Sorry about that. That's a little bit too real. A lot of members in ENP, parents are gone. They're dead. Some, just a mother, father gone elsewhere. Others, father and mother, dead. And they had nowhere to go. They were trying to figure it out in the street. And I was like, I need to find a way to get my guys off the street. I got them a job, but this hopping to house is not going to work. How will they be able to hone their skills if they're doing? And this is not everyone in Empire Arcadia. There are people in Empire that they have good families and they live in their house and whatnot. But some of these people that you see in the arc, that you've seen in the arc, had no place to go. And so people will laugh at that. You're homeless. I was homeless. I'm like, people don't know how real L.I. Joe is. L.I. Joe is so real. When we were getting evicted from the last arc, no, that wasn't the last arc. That was arc 6. But the last arc is the God's arc. That's up in St. Mark's. That's yeah. So the very last arc, the last week we were there, they shut off the lights. We had nowhere to go. This is 2011. The blizzard of 2011, we were being evicted in the blizzard. L.I. Joe came over and said, I'll rock with you guys until the last day. Joe came through and slept on the floor with us in the arc. No lights. We just, to get the heat in the house, we turned on the stove. Shit is real. That is truly one of the greatest white boys I will ever love in my life. L.I. Joe.
Shouts out like fucking Joe, man.
That's my bro.
Yeah, when it comes to just obviously he's a big pusher of the culture, but he's about his people first. He's about the people first. So
it's about the people first.
For real. 100.
I will always love that. That's the greatest white boy I will ever love in my life. He's so fucking real. It was ridiculous. He's so real. One of the greatest. He was never a member of the Empire. I'm gonna show you how close to Empire he was. When we had the Street Fighter 5v5 regionals at Evo. 2009, we said, Joe, we'd be honored if you take the 5th slot. And Joe took the 5th slot. And Empire went 19-1.
Yeah, that shit was smokish.
We fucking smoked the United States. You want to talk
about the squad that was ahead of the meta in Street Fighter 4 at that time? It was definitely the East Coast Empire Arcadia for sure, man. In general, that shit was ahead.
I was laughing because I was like, this is not fair. I always thought someone was eventually gonna come kill me. Like, real talk. Cause not paranoid, I laughed about it. I was like, yo, Triforce, you know what? Somebody would come and kill your ass for some stupid shit like this. I was like, this is a bonkers team. I mean, they body it. That's how we got our Jinx sponsorship. Jinx saw that. It was like, we want to give you guys some clothing. Wait, who was it? Marn, Justin, Sanford, L.I. Joe, and Artaro. That team was fucking broken. That was a broken ass team. That shit was so stupid. It didn't even make any sense. But we had so many guys that came in. I needed to house them, and that's when I was like, the arc that we had for Videoland is the arc that we will use for Empire Arcadia. And I had to find a place, and I was homeless at this time. And me and my wife, we were jumping from place to place. I'll tell you a funny story. we had to go to Justin's house to stay. And for those like Noel Brown and no, not Mike mix up. Infinite, there we go. That Mike, right? They know they've been in that Matrix. Y'all all been in Justin's house. Well, I'm not acting like you guys never been in Justin's house. So you know how like he had the big ass mattress that kind of came off the mattress a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an under part there. We came over Justin's house so that we can sleep on the bed. And Justin's like, guys, I'm gonna have some guys come over and play Marvel. I'm like, Jason. I said, damn, Justin. He's like, yo, you can come over and sleep, but like they're gonna be playing marbles. That are gonna fit in the bed. And they all came and they laid on the bed. And Justin was like, yo, you can. He had a little cot, a little soft cot that was under the extended mattress. Yeah. So me and my wife was laying under the mattress while Justin and them was on the button. And my wife looked at me and she was like, really? I was like, all right, come on, man. You've been doing this for like 10 years. You've heard these buttons going back to WrestleMania. I'm like, come on, man. I'm like, honey.
Gosh.
And then Justin was like, guys, come on, you got to get out. Triforce and Daisy's trying to sleep. And I was like, come on, one more game. Shit. That ended in the morning. We just had to sleep through the noise, or whatever the case may be. And then we just been moving from house to house. And then Justin got the house in Midwood with Dan, the Jewish landlord. And they got the house.
Dan. I remember that.
It was Justin, Noel.
Was it Random James?
Random James and Random James
was later. That was later on.
Mike was there. Gin
Master. Yeah. So Gin Master, and they got that place, and they tried to hold it up for a while, but a lot of nonsense. Gin Master was so over ambitious. Gin Master was trying to rule the fucking world. So he was all over the place. He would leave and come back a month later, and there was always issues with the rent, and Justin would try to have to hold it up in the whole 9 yards. And so we came over there, and Justin's like, you can use Gin Master's room, because Gin Master was not
Mike Infinite was there too. Mike had his room.
Yeah, Mike had his room. Yeah. We came over there, but they were going to lose a house. The landlord was getting fed up with them, and the landlord was talking, are you upstairs? I said, yeah. And then he says, you know that place is only for a certain amount of people. And I spoke to the Dan. I said, me and my wife, we're not going to stay long. We're just trying to, find a place to get. So I'm working and just trying to get the place. And that's when Dan told me, I'm going to evict these guys. And he's like, you and your wife need a place to stay. I'll give it to you, but you'll have to be able to pay for the rent. So I said, can you give me 6 months? I need to save some money. He said, 6 months? And I was like, yeah, you give me 6 months, I'll rent the place instead. He says, all right. So he gave Justin a 6 months warning. 6 months, you guys got to leave, you can't stay here. And the guys did all types of nonsense or whatever in the house and whatever. And then I went back to Mr. J, the Korean sensation. He said, Jay, I need a job. And he was like, they left me hanging the last time, Triforce. I said, I know. So I was trying to pursue the Empire. I said, I'll give you the 80-hour work weeks like I used to do. I'm trying to get a place so I can get me and my wife off the street. And that's when he gave me the Fordham store on Decatur and Webster, the drug spot. I'll tell you guys.
I remember. Right, that's right across from Frillz, right?
Well, Little Caesars is there now. So that's
yeah.
Little Caesars is where the store was. I decided to run Empire out of that place. And he said, Kramer, I need you to do me a solid. We got to get the Empire running again. So I'm going to run out this place from Dan. I'm going to take over the Midwood house. But I need to save enough money to get like 10 grand for the year because he doesn't want no defaults on the rent. You want to help me get the place? He's like, what hours I work in? It's like 60 hours. I'll do the 80. And Kramer crushed 60 hours for me for 6 months. Saved up the money.
Shout out to Kramer, man.
Shout out to Kramer.
That guy's a warrior, bro.
Straight warrior, dude. And we bought the place 6 months later. We got it, and that was Arc. That was the fifth Arc. And then that's when we found out all the guys coming over there from all the different members of EMP, Prodigy, and all of these other dudes started coming there. Even some of the Valkyries, the illustrious Nicole Diamond. That was wrong. I should have said her age. Man. Anyway, but so a bunch of dudes is there, and then a lot of the guys who didn't have any place to sleep, they were homeless. I was like, come here. This is where you stay. Ironically enough, something happened to Justin. Don't want to get into the business. Just something happened to Justin. Justin couldn't stay where he was at anymore. He had to go. Justin had no place to stay. I'm like, your quarters, sir, your quarters. And Justin took in the quarters, and Justin said, Justin wanted to plan on saving up his money and to get him his own place, to take a bite out of regular life a little bit and whatnot. He wanted to help his grandmother enter the King of Chinatown. Justin met his a girlfriend at Chinatown Fair. He's like, oh, I'm wifing her up, and I'm trying to get my shit together. So Justin's like, I'm going hard. 2007, 8, and 9, Justin went hard. Like, he went hard. He's like, I'm not trying to play none of these games. King of Chinatown came around. Some guy, Calvin Theobald. I don't want to call him some guy, but at that time, he was some guy. Justin came to the arc. Some guy met me at Chinatown Fair and said he wants to do a documentary on me. I'm like, okay. Did you tell him to talk to me? He's like, yeah, I told him to get a contact with you and so forth. And he came to me. He was like, yeah, I'm just trying to do a school project. Stop wasting my time. He said, what do you mean? I was like, do you know who the fuck that guy is? He's like, no. I said, that's Justin fucking Wong. You want to make a fucking school documentary? You're wasting my fucking time. I actually asked Calvin Theobald. He's like, this guy's talking to me like, who the fuck is this guy? And I'm like, I have a better idea. Let's make a documentary about the growing fighting game scene led by Justin Wong in the new game Street Fighter 4. Let's put this shit in the mainstream. That's why a lot of people don't know that I am the creative director for the King of Chinatown. I own 33% of the film. You dumb fucks. So for all you guys insulting me, like, we have a contract between me, Calvin, and Jordan. And like, the only thing Calvin did me dirty was paint me as the bad guy. But I understand why he did it. He felt at the time, because I told Calvin, end the film at the US Nationals when he won and beat Mike Ross. That was the time to end. He said, no, Justin can go into the World Championships and win. I'm like, oh my God. He may fight Daigo in the finals, and there's a chance he may lose. He's like, that would be an epic story. Can you imagine he wins? You're going to bet the whole film on that?
Daigo on top of that.
Final set,
Daigo, the beast.
Final round, final game. Game 7, Justin loses. Movie trashed. I was sitting there, I was so mad at Calvin. I said, all you had to do was let Justin win on the Nationals. If you won on the Nationals, I could have taken that. I could have put that together in a package. I could have taken that son bitch and I would have sold that shit to so many different companies and got Justin multi-$1,000 deals. I was already able to get him a multi-$1,000 deal just on the premise of us putting together the documentary with Evil Controllers. Evil Controllers paid Justin $20,000 to play on a controller. And I'm like, if we can finish the documentary, end it on Justin winning, Justin's set for life. Took that risk. Calvin couldn't do anything about it. Then Justin left EMP, and Calvin said, this is a great way to unshelf the movie. Because Triforce brought Justin to this far, and then he fumbled the bag. But I didn't fumble the bag. He did. But he put me as the villain. Because he's the director. He can't put himself in the movie. So he used me. And he told me, I'm not going to make you look bad, Triforce. I'm going to try to checker the movie. So the object of the movie was to kind of make Justin be portrayed like the traitor. And then portray me like you have empathy on me. Triforce rode with Justin all this time, but then Justin betrayed him. But so those who are fans of Triforce will have empathy for me and not like Justin and say, man, Justin's mad fucked up for everything Triforce did for him. Look what he did. But for those who are Justin fan, Triforce is mismanaging Justin. He doesn't know what he's doing. Justin needs to be with a real esports team like Evil Genius. And he could blah, 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 and whatever. And Evil Genius didn't do a motherfucking thing with Justin. I did more for Justin than Evil Genius, and Evil Genius has 100,000 times more money than me. Do you know why? Because Evil Genius doesn't give a shit about the players. Evil Genius cares about their sponsors and their advertisers. Period. You are just a cog in the wheel. You can't win no more. You cog. That's it. And that's no slight against the new Evil Genius now. That's bitch ass Alex Garfield Evil Genius. And some people are like, they go Triforce hating and blah, blah, blah. But you ask any businessman, they'll be like, doesn't matter if Triforce has failed many times. What he's saying right there is right. What I'm talking about specifically is Alex Garfield had an opportunity with Justin and did nothing with it because he didn't want to give up his Dota team. He wanted his Dota team to be the main team. Yeah, that's nice, and the Dota brings in a lot of money, but story, Justin Wong. I'm like, when Guinness World Record accidentally gave Daigo the most winning Evo champion, I had to call Guinness. Whoa, what are you doing? Hold up, time out. What are you talking about? Daigo won this amount of I know that. Justin Wong, who played with Empire Arcadia, won these amount of Evos. Justin Wong is the number one winning Evo champion at that time. I'm like, that's a mistake. You got to fix that. And then
it still is. Funny enough, still is.
Yeah. And the following year, Guinness fixed it and gave Justin the plaque as the number one winning Evo champion ever. Which, if you go to the, I just find this funny. If you go to the Evo wiki, they don't label Justin under Team Empire Arcadia. They label him under Evo Genius. Although most of the Evo championships he's won has been on the EMP. No different from the Score Esports. You saw that documentary that they did on Justin, and they completely omitted the fact that he was in EMP. And then I was like, okay, Triforce is going to trump all of these scumbags. So I told Justin, like I said, so now you're set with Guinness. Your legacy set in Guinness Book of World Records. Now you need to get into the International Video Game Hall of Fame. Now he was under, what's the name of his team? Echo Fox with Jace Hall. Jace Hall, there would be a conflict of interest, but I knew Jace Hall was not going to support Justin going into the International Video Game Hall of Fame because he would have to share his legacy as a member of Empire Arcadia. And the International Video Game Hall of Fame was in connection with Walter Day, which is in connection with the old Twin Galaxies. And at that time, they were beefing with Billy Mitchell and all that. So it's a lot of parts moving around. And I was like, you need to be entered into the International Video Game Hall of Fame. Nominations are coming up. I'm going to get every member that's still in EMP and friends and whatever to nominate you. And I'm going to go hard to get you inducted into the International Video Game Hall of Fame. And he's like, you think I'll get it? I said, you have a good chance of getting it. If you look at the other guys at the time that was with him. And one of the arguments was because Daigo was on the ballot. And there's like, do you put Daigo in before Justin? And I said, Justin has won more Evo championships than Daigo. They're both legendary players. But Daigo's more legendary in just Street Fighter. Justin is legendary amongst fighting games. Period.
And this is no slight to Daigo neither. Like, he's been great in other games.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Daigo got inducted into the International Video Game Hall of Fame this year. He's in.
See, I didn't know that. Okay. But yeah, again, I was just saying there's no slight to Daigo because we know how talented he is in other games. Because the first time I heard of Daigo was Guilty Gear. Funny enough, it wasn't even Street Fighter.
Yeah, it wasn't even Street Fighter.
I knew that, like, you know, he was legendary in Super Turbo, like CBS 2, Street Fighter Alpha 3. I know he was good in those games, but, like, you know, just to add on to something. Go ahead.
So I said, if anyone gets him before Daigo, in my honest opinion, they would have to Justin Wong. And I had nomination video streams online, and I was over there pom-pomming for Justin hardcore and whatnot to get him in and whatnot. And then when the nominations came out, Justin just edged out Daigo. I was like, yes! So what Justin got, and Justin had made it, I told Justin, keep it quiet, because I felt at that time if Jace Hall's Echo Fox knew about it, they may pull Justin from it. So I told Justin, just in case they pull you from it, create and submit in a video of you being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Our requests, can I induct Justin into the Hall of Fame? And I was like, well, Triforce, since he won, we'll allow you to induct Justin Wong into the Hall of Fame. So
I didn't know you induct him, bro.
Yeah, I induct Justin Wong. I inducted Reggie Fils-Aimé. I inducted the president of Nintendo into the International Video Game Hall of Fame.
That I remember.
And in his initial induction speech, he mentioned me, which that surprised the shit out of me because I didn't think he was going to do that. I thought I was good. I was like, yes, the president of Nintendo. So Justin got it, and I was so happy that he got it because he definitely deserved it. The following year, I think Ryan Hart was the following year or the year after, but Ryan Hart got in as well. So right
well
now,
deserved.
Yeah, well deserved. We have Justin, Ryan Hart. Did Tokido get in? I think Tokido is in. There should be 4 prominent fighting game players of all time in the International Video Game Hall of Fame. I know it's Justin, I know it's Ryan Hart, and I know it's Daigo. I think Tokido went in last year. I'm not sure. I'll double check, but yeah, those guys are in. And big shout outs to Walt today for making those fighting game community cards, which the fighting game community shunned. I don't understand these guys. So it's crazy. There's just so many things that happened in that time frame from 2002, late 2002, all the way up to about 2009. And well, actually, it's a little bit more that all up to, we'll say 2013, because that's when we moved into the God's Arc. And we call it the God's Arc because we were evicted in the blizzard of 2011. And we had nowhere to go. I had to try to put things in storage, and we were sleeping at Penn Station in New York. We had nowhere to go. So let's enter sustaining the arc, because everyone, let's get to this. This is the meats and the potatoes. Triforce stealing everybody's money to pay his rent. Let's address this. Let's keep this up.
So you know what? This is a great place for us to end this episode of the No Frills podcast, right at the juicy part. So guys, make sure you tune in next time for the continuation of the Triforce Game Master.
What a teaser right here. What a jerk. I was locked in, but hey, I like where you're going with that. I like where you're going with that, though. Fuck that. That's good shit.